Evaluating expressions. When evaluating algebraic expressions, the process is fairly straightforward. We can use the same 3 steps every single time. The first would be to write the expression. The second would be to substitute in the value of the variable using parentheses. And then step 3 would be to simplify or evaluate the expression using our order of operations. Let's take a look at an example. So we have evaluate the quantity of 4n plus 6 squared for when n equals 1. So following the 3 steps, the first is to write the expression. So we have 4n plus 6 squared. We then are given the value of n equals 1, so that's what we're going to substitute in for the variable n. So you no longer will see the letter n in the expression. It's gone. So instead is parentheses 1. So now we need to simplify for step 3 using our order of operations. So we're multiplying 4 times 1 to get 4. We then do 4 plus 6 to get 10. And then 10 squared is finally our answer of 100. So when you make the substitution into the expression for n equals 1, the value is 100. Now let's look at that same exact expression, except now we're going to evaluate for when n equals -1, a different value. Our steps are still the same though. We still have the expression that we're going to write first as 4n plus 6 squared. Now the value of n is -1, so when we see the variable n, we're going to use parentheses -1 instead. The variable is gone, and in its place is -1. And now let's simplify using our order of operations. 4 times -1 is -4. -4 plus 6 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So our value now is 4 when n equals -1, even though we have the same expression. It's different because of the given value. Let's look at a very similar expression, but now when n equals 2, and the expression is a little different, that factor of 4 is on the outside of the parentheses. So we have step number 1, write the expression. So we have 4 times the quantity n plus 6 squared. Our given value is n equals 2, so we're substituting for step number 2, where we saw the variable n is now parentheses 2. And now step number 3, we're going to simplify. So 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 squared is 64, and 4 times 64 gives us a final value of 256. So now we're given the expression in this example, we have 12x plus 2 to the third. So let's let x equals 8 and then use the magic looking glass to reveal the correct value of the expression. It's a good way to check our work. So we have 12x plus 2 to the third. So step number 1, let's write that expression. We're given a value when x equals 8. So we'll input, or step number 2, we'll substitute, instead of writing 12x, we're going to have parentheses times 8 plus 2 to the third. So now I can simplify using the order of operations. We have 2 to the third is going to be 8. We then have 12 times 8 is 96. So then 96 plus 8 gives us an answer of 104. So if we move the looking glass and slide it over, it does reveal the answer is 104. Let's do one more example. This is an example where there's more than one variable in the expression. There's more than one x for us to make the substitution in step 2. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Step number 1 is to identify the expression. So we have 4x plus 2x to the third. So in step number 2, we're given that x equals 2. I have to make that substitution twice. I have to do it everywhere I see an x. So 4 times parentheses 2 plus 2 times parentheses 2 to the third. Now that I've made that substitution, I can move on to step number 3 and start evaluating. So I'm going to do that exponent of 2 to the third first. So that'll be 4 times 2 plus 2 times 8. So now I can do my multiplication. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 times 8 is 16, and 8 plus 16 is 24. So if we move the magic mirror around, we do get that it reveals the answer is 24. So when evaluating expressions, just remember your 3 steps, and you'll be okay for any type of problem.